All right, looks like we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Crypto with Chris. Today we have James on again. If you remember, James was on last week, and we shared my screen and went through TradingView, and he asked a bunch of really cool questions about how to use it, how to get it set up, and things like that. And then over the course of the past week, James has set up his own TradingView. And so this time he's going to come on and share his screen, and we're going to go through his setup and talk about just sort of the things that he's encountered along the way and some of the limitations he's run into using the free version and see what we can do. But before that, I wanted to first add a couple of announcements. One, make sure that you're, or please rather, follow my profile so that you can comment in the chat and be involved in the conversation. And then also I added a couple links to my Twitch profile, primarily one being my Telegram channel. I made a Telegram announcements channel, and I'm going to use that as my central hub for all of my announcements for new Twitch streams or any other shows that I might be a guest on. So you can find it there in the announcements. I'll also add it to the description of this video after the stream is over. But that's going to be kind of the primary place to sort of see what I'm up to. And yeah, I guess outside of that, hopefully we'll see some people in the chat today. That would be cool to interact. So please, again, hop on and chat with us. But anyway, James, how are you today? How's things going?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you
I'm great.
doing?
It's a lovely Wednesday here in England, where I guess, well, I you're in Scotland, but yeah, we're both in the same part of the world. But it's a lovely day.
I've got blue skies as well here, but it's Scotland, so that can change any second.
I know it's funny. Like I've been noticing the weather forecast. Like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll check the weather, and be like, oh, sunny today, and then literally an hour later, oh, showers all afternoon. And it's like, what?
Yeah. I was actually in London over the weekend and playing a tournament outside, and like it was really, really weird. We had some really, really intense showers for like 10 minutes, absolutely piercing it down, and very, very windy as well. So it's not like you can really use an umbrella properly. And then it would just clear, and then it would just do it again, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
it was,
yeah,
yeah, quite weird.
right. Indeed, indeed. So TradingView, it looks like, well, let me ask you first, are you using the desktop app or the browser in a window, in a browser tab?
I I am using the desktop app, so I literally went to the TradingView website, went to the downloads page, picked the one for Windows, and then this is kind of what I see as on the desktop app.
Perfect. Very good. If not, that was gonna be the first thing on my mouth is you got to use the desktop app because it's like, yeah, I
Yes.
definitely want to touch on that. So the reason being the browser version, it's way more resource intensive because browsers just in general are more resource intensive, and you end up using multiple tabs to look at different charts. The next thing you know, your browser is just like killing your computer and it comes to a screeching halt. But if you use the desktop app version of TradingView, it's way less resource intensive and it just makes for a much cleaner, smoother experience. And
Yeah.
it frees up your browser to like do all kinds of other stuff then too. So yeah,
Exactly.
I know
Yeah.
so many.
It'll just be tabception with like all your tabs across via browser, then all your tabs across in that
Right.
tab of
Yeah,
TradingView. Yeah, it'd just be
it's a
kill
mess.
it.
It's a mess. And I know so many people who are like, oh, I didn't even know they had a desktop version. What? So yeah, definitely if you're using this, go and download the desktop version. It's like night and day better. The only thing that's funny though is sometimes I'll be in TradingView and I'll think, oh, I need to go look something up on Google or whatever, and I'll click a tab and I'll open up like a TradingView tab and be like, oh wait, no, I got it. Whoops. Um, but
Mm.
anyway, okay, so let's see. What do you got here? So you got a brand new blank setup, I see. Um,
Yep. Pretty much. So yeah, like I said, I'm using the free version of TradingView for now, and yeah, like literally, I think it was last Thursday, like one day after we did the first episode last week, where I was like, okay, I think I know what episode two or the next time I'm on might be, because there were some things where I was like able to do it immediately, some things where I was like, okay, now I'm coming across the you can only do this on the free version, and then some things that I was like, okay, I'm missing something here maybe. So I thought, why don't I share my screen, and then if I'm doing something wrong, Chris can like talk me through it. So that if any of you guys are doing the same as well, then some of the probably common problems or whatever I'm probably having them as well, and then you can see how we're sorting it through. So if you're ever wondering, oh, why is that? Why is that? That's kind of what today might be a little bit about. But yeah, we've kind of just got Bitcoin versus US
Okay.
dollar at the moment, just as a standard thing. So yeah, what has happened this last week? I wonder. Like, has there been any news?
I know, right? Like everything went crazy with the XRP, and then everything settled back down, and yeah,
Mm,
it's been a bit of a roller coaster. And now everything it's crazy. Last week I was like, I still think things are bullish. Like, of course, I was going to expect to see a little bit of a sell-off from the original XRP pump, but fast forward to Monday, Tuesday. Now everything looks bad. Now the sentiment
mm.
is down. I mean, we're kind of scraping the bottom of the range. Nothing really looks positive, at all. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a mess. But show me. So I see you got three different indicators kind of loaded up in the corner here. Let's look at that first because I have a
Yeah.
question about that. Um, One thing I was actually glad that you noticed. I don't know if you caught this from my setup or not, but I saw you loaded that TSMA moving average,
Yep.
and that was
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that I discovered when using the free version because I kept trying to load individual moving averages, and that was counting against my indicator count. And so I'm like, oh man, I can't do anything if I need, more than a couple moving averages. And so I found that indicator and it loads three at a time. And for all I know, there's probably a dozen of them out there that have 20 different moving averages built in and you can configure them all. But I thought this one was useful for me. And so I loaded that and it obviously gave me sort of three in one that way. And I could
Mm.
free up space to add other indicators that way. Um,
Yeah, so I basically I went back through the stream. I went to kind of like this sort of area over here, where you had about like a dozen or so of these going down here, and then I just looked them up essentially, and then I would go to indicators right here, and then just search them. So yeah, I have got a I think TSMA is three simple moving averages. Now, I don't think I've got I don't think this one is the one that you normally use because this is showing 50, 100, 200. So this would be like we're on a daily chart, so it'll be 50-day
right.
moving average, 100-day, 200-day. Whereas I think you use the 10, 20, and what would the third one be
So
for yours?
so actually you can change that, and that's a good thing I can point out.
Yeah.
So I for the 20, I actually just use the center of the Bollinger Bands because that's like a 20 built in. So that also
Right.
allows me to that frees up another
Okay.
one. So yeah, if you go in there and click the little gear next to, yeah, right there, if you click the gear,
Yep.
you can change
Ah,
those
okay.
uh, lengths. So yeah, make the first one 10. You can make the other ones whatever you
Yep.
want, really. I mean, I think I do 10, 100, and 200. Sometimes I'll do 10, 50, and 100. But
Yeah.
definitely the 10 for sure. And then, like I said, the Bollinger Band has the 20 built in. So that way you get
Hmm.
sort of your 10 and 20 crossover when you enable both of them. And
So yeah. So at the moment you can't see it on the chart, and that's because you've got a little cross over the eyeball. All you have to do is click that, and boom, it
right,
comes
right.
up. And just zoom out a little bit, and you can kind of see it from there.
Um, I one thing I did too, and obviously you don't have to do this, but I kind of changed the colors, the default colors around just so that they're a
Yeah.
little higher contrast. But you can and you can change the transparency. Yeah, if you go into style, you can change the transparency. You
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
change the
Yeah.
line weight. You can change the color. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of as you go through it, you'll find yourself wanting to kind of tweak that a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
another thing I wanted to point out, I think that is really key is down in the lower right corner, just above that gear, you'll see if you kind of mouse over the um,
The
lower
lower
right
right
corner,
corner,
yeah, you'll
just
see
above
an
the
A and an
gear.
L pop up there. Go back up a little bit.
Yeah. Ooh, whoops.
Yeah. So
Ah,
so
yeah.
th- I so that toggles between linear and logarithmic.
Yep.
I Again, that's personal preference. I personally have all my charts set on logarithmic, particularly higher time
Mm.
frame charts, but that's how you toggle that on and off. And then the A is automatic, where that basically just kind of fits everything to the screen.
Yeah. So it's just little tweaks and stuff that for personal preference, however you want to
Right,
see it.
exactly.
Hmm. And then when I brought the moving averages up, we had several more of these kind of prices appear on the right-hand side. So I'm assuming that these are kind of what the price of that moving average is. So so the blue one here, that's the blue one there. This shorter, I think this would be the
Right,
10,
yeah,
wouldn't it? So this 10-day moving average, that's kind of the average price over the past 10 days. This is the average price over the past, what is it? We did 100 days. This is the average price over the past 200
right,
days.
yes.
Hmm.
Um, Perfect, okay. And then, so what happens if you turn the Bollinger Bands on now? Let's see what that looks like.
So yeah, so this is BB Bollinger Bands. You said that it had a 20-day moving average in it, so I'm assuming that's what that
Correct.
20 means. So let's turn this on, and boom, we have the Bollinger Bands. And we have the 20-day that's moving in the middle of it. It's a little bit brighter than the other lines, so I quite
Yeah,
like that. Um,
and you can actually change
and
the
yeah,
moving average date of the Bollinger Band indicator. You can also change
the
you can
settings,
also
yeah,
change the
yeah,
number of standard deviations. So if you change it to say 3, for example, it'll expand the clouds out more, and that'll represent 3
yep.
standard deviations above the mean instead of 2. Um, but again,
Mhm.
the standard is generally 2. That's what everybody uses for reference. So most
Yep.
people,
And you can see it changing in the
exactly, most
background.
people wouldn't ever change that, but you can if you wanted to. Um,
Mm.
Very nice, very nice. Okay,
I think the 2 is a good one because, like, I think, like I said last week, the way that I saw it is kind of like the Bollinger Bands kind of create a tunnel through which kind of price moves through. So the Bollinger Bands is essentially the more that something is trading and the more volatile it's getting and the more it's going up and down, the greater these Bollinger Bands kind of like expand apart, and like it's kind of the tunnel that we kind of expect the price
right.
move to. When it's going up, it tends to hug the top of it. When it's going down, it tends to hug the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, like we see there. But if it goes over, then it's like, oh, okay, that was a big move. We can expect it to kind of come back within the range.
Right. Yes, exactly. You're learning already. That's awesome.
Nice. And more boxes have opened up on the right
More,
hand
yes,
side.
more box. It's funny. I
Yeah,
wonder, I feel like that doesn't happen on mine. I wonder if I turn that off somehow, or
maybe.
I don't remember.
So I can
I don't
probably
remember. Um,
put it into settings. Let's see.
Time frame chart, maybe style. What's under style? Oh,
Labels.
labels on
Aha. There
and
we go.
values on status
That's the
line,
one.
I think. Yeah, or one of those. But yeah, yeah, or both of those, or something.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
one of them.
Okay. Um,
Mhm. Now, I did have a question
yes.
with this. So, when we were looking at your charts and you had the Bollinger Bands up and the moving averages and stuff, you had all of this here, but you also had below in this sort of area here the separate indicators as their own thing, and that gave you an extra layer, I
Yes.
suppose, to it essentially. Now, it's not coming up for me, and I've tried a bunch of stuff and it's still not coming up. Why not, Chris? Help
Okay,
me.
so let's try, let's add a volume indicator and we'll look at that first. So
Okay.
go to indicators.
Whoops.
Um,
Oh, I got rid of my Bollinger Bands. Let me get that
you can
back.
actually hit the undo button and it'll pop it right back.
Ooh.
It's right next to the replay up in that top kind of,
Ah,
yeah,
yes.
right there. There you
Lovely.
go. That, yeah, I use that a ton because every time I'll accidentally delete something, I'm like, oh no, what did I do? Yeah, so it's
No.
got an undo redo button. That'll be your friend for sure. But yeah, so go back to
Mhm.
indicators. Just type in
Yep.
volume. Um,
Nope, not column.
um,
Volume.
just the third one down would be, uh, yeah, that. There you go. Okay, so now we have volume.
Hmm.
So you can do,
And this is
it
along
does
the
put it
bottom
along the
here.
bottom. Now, what you can do with that, if you right click on the actual volume graph, or on either one, or rather click the little dots at the end of that line there. Um,
Okay,
yeah,
this
click
one
that.
here.
You
Yep.
can say move to, and you can say it's about halfway down. You say new pane below, um, and that
Yep.
will put it in its own separate pane, and you can
Okay.
resize that pane too.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of indicators there, well, not a lot, but there's
Ah,
certain
yeah.
indicators, like for example, RSI or MACD or some of these other super common indicators. Those will automatically appear as a new pane below without you having to do that. But I did want to just point this out that like even with volume, for example, you have the option of separating it out as a separate pane or having it be a part of the main chart. Like if you right click on the volume thing again, you can say join, or yeah, do that. You can say join back. Um, if you go to move to,
Move to existing pane
exactly,
above.
and you can
Ah,
put it
yeah,
back
yeah,
into, because sometimes people have the volume in embedded in the chart like this, and sometimes it can get difficult to read if the chart itself is sort of overlapping with the volume bars. Like on the far left hand side of the chart, you can sort of see that down in the corner. um, and so
yeah.
sometimes instead of having to shuffle the chart around or move it, you can just move it to a different pane. That way it makes a clean
Yeah.
separation and you can more easily view it that way. I'll go back and forth with
Nice.
volume. Sometimes I have it in the main chart. Sometimes I have it on a separate pane. And then like say, for example, again, if you go add an indicator like RSI, it'll automatically just make a new pane. Yeah, just that top one. Yep.
That one here. Yep.
Um,
Aha.
oh,
Now.
okay. So yeah, so unfortunately, you'll have to close. That's the limit with the three. Is you get three indicators. So or limit with the
Yep.
free. Either way, though, you get the idea. Um, yeah. Um,
So yeah, that's essentially one of the limitations that I came across. I essentially can't have more than 3 indicators on at any one time in the free version. So I've got volume here, I've got Bollinger Bands, I've got TSMA. I have got one more that's not showing, but the reason why, so we can come to this quickly, is this was your special source one that you bought from someone else in
right.
the Pro Crypto
Right.
Discord. And so you bought access to this. Now I did the same thing like I did with these. I went back through the stream that we did last week. I looked up all your indicators here and saw that it was by Scipio Pro. So I literally just typed in that in the box here and found that Scipio's done a few of these, but it was this one that we were
Right.
looking at. And so you can see that there's a little um, padlock, a red padlock, as in access denied on here. And so it says contact the author for more information. You said that there's a website, there's a Telegram channel, and he's on the same Discord
Right.
server anyway, so I could send him a direct message if I wanted to get access to that. But I added it, and if I try, nothing happens. It doesn't
Right.
come up. There's a study error here. It says this script is invite only. To request access, please contact its
Right.
author.
Right. Yeah, there's a number of indicators out there like that, and a lot of people do this and make
Mm.
like really great indicator sets and sell
Yep.
them, and it's a cool thing. And some of them actually provide a ton of amazing insight and are totally worth buying, like that one, like this one in particular, for example. um, and so yeah,
Mm.
basically how that process works is once you kind of pay and you get signed up, you'll just send them your telegram I'm sorry your trading view rather your trading view account name, and they put it in on their end, and it gives you access to the indicator, and then you just kind of close it, reopen it, and
Yeah.
then it works. um,
Mm.
but yeah, I've actually subscribed to a handful of indicators in the past, and more often than not, they're well worth doing. Some of them are pretty expensive, but they're actually really cool, and they can
Yeah.
wildly change how your trading view looks. Like they can change all the candle colors and add all kinds of crazy graphics and do all kinds of wild stuff, and completely change everything.
Mm.
And it's super interesting. Um,
So this one here, this was basically this is something that kind of measures 12 or 13 different indicators, and if there's kind of like a divergence in any one of them, it will pop up a little flag,
right,
and it will say one, and that means it's diverging from one indicator. If there's more numbers on the flag, then it's diverging from more indicators, and that what it's signaling is a potential reversal in the trend or in the price. So I think I watched your
hmm
second episode. Very, very good, I must say. And when I think it was after the price had rocketed up here on the XRP news, a flag popped up here with like a 4 or 5. So it's like, okay, that was a big move. We're probably going to see it reversing. And well, look, it's just kind of like been sliding back down since then.
right, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, it's it's a great indicator. It definitely brings to your attention, a lot of useful information in a very concise manner, I think, which is what I really like about it. and kind of gives you a bias or a something what to expect going forward. Um, it's not always it doesn't always mean everything. I think it like on charts where there's a lot less volume and a lot more volatility, like on a smaller token. Like I know, like last week we looked at a coin called Tau, um, briefly. Like that one doesn't have nearly as much trading volume, nearly as much activity, and moves a lot more. And so in a situation like that, that indicator maybe isn't going to carry as much weight because there's just so much going on that you're going to constantly see lots of divergences happening. But on something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, for example, where there's just billions of dollars of activity happening all the time, it's definitely much more like, oh, this is something I need to pay attention to. Um, so I think that's one thing to keep in mind. But yeah, it's a great indicator. I highly recommend it. I actually have a link to it in like my profile. You can get to it and see how it works too.
Nice.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
check that out. So one thing I wanted to point
Hmm.
out here that I'm seeing is the watch list. Are you able to make use of that on the free tier? I don't remember to add things to it.
Uh, I I I can. It basically came with a whole bunch there and ready. But basically I wasn't really interested in any of them, so I just got rid of them. I haven't really added anything to them just
Okay.
yet.
One
Um,
thing you can do is just
so
right click on the chart
yeah.
and say add to watch list, just anywhere in the middle of the chart there. Um,
So just right click,
So add BTC
going
right,
down,
kind of
going
right,
down.
almost in the middle right there. Add BTC to watch
Oh
list,
yeah,
and then you can pick the watch list. You can have
there we
more than
go.
one watch list if you want. I like to. I
Yeah.
actually have like 4 or 5 different watch lists, and it's really interesting to kind of watch people on YouTube, different technical analysts, and the way they use their watch lists and the way they organize things. Um, but you
Yeah.
can do some
So they create a new list. There's the red list
right.
here. And there's this just current watch list here. So I can add stuff on here, and then when I want to go straight to it, I can just click that, and it will come straight back
Yeah,
here, right?
exactly. And I like it too because I like
Nice.
having, especially a lot of like the main ones that we follow, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and, whatever the top 4 or 5 that you're paying attention to. Once you add them into your watch list, it
Yeah.
it makes it nice because you just have like a quick at a glance preview of what's doing what. You can see what's green on the day, what's red on the day. Um, and it's just nice to sort of have that, like I said, at the ready. Um, and I use that a ton. Um, so yeah, and then I have like a separate watch list for like how I did it. And again, you can do it any way you want, but I made a separate watch list for like USD pairs, and then a separate one for Bitcoin denominated pairs, a separate one for Ethereum denominated pairs, and then like a separate one for more sort of TradFi stuff like stock indices and various individual stocks and Dixie and currencies and things like that. And then I used the red flag function to signify like you know pairs that I have an open position in, maybe for example, or something like that, just so that
Mm.
I can, if I wanted to see at a quick glance, how are my current trades doing, I can just switch to the red watch list and it'll filter everything out to just the stuff that I'm actually holding right now. And so that's kind of a cool way you can use that too. And there's actually, you can add different colors. So you can have a red list and a blue list and a green list or whatever. So you can do all kinds of fun stuff with the watch list, but I think it's a really underutilized function that I didn't catch on to right away, and found that it actually was really helpful and sort of streamlined my use of TradingView after I kind of really embraced it. So definitely something to keep in
Yeah.
mind. Um,
Nice. So what I did just there was I've literally just added, I literally just searched for Ethereum USD. I just went to that chart. I right clicked, I added it to the watch list, and now it's on there. And I think I will be using the watch list quite a lot because one thing that you can do and I can't is you can have all of these tabs,
right,
so many tabs across the top. So it's like, oh, I want to check that out, tab. Oh, I want to check that out, tab. You just have it there and
right,
ready. I can't do that. So if I want to add a new layout, it won't let me because you are only allowed one on the free
right.
version. Same if I try it up here. Oh, let me see.
I think you can do the same layout, but you can't,
Right.
or you,
It's basically just the same as this
yeah,
one.
you can change it. Now,
Okay.
what'll happen is when you close TradingView and reopen it, it's going to set them both to either Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's going to set them all to the same layout.
Yeah.
But I think you can have multiple tabs as long as they're in the same layout, just again, knowing that they'll all reset once you
Yeah.
restart the program. Um,
Yeah. No, that's fair.
so, okay, so what about alerts? Let's talk about alerts. Does it let you set an alert for anything, I wonder?
I think it will. So create alert for Ethereum USD.
Okay, so
So right,
let's
what do I
okay
do now?
close this for now. We'll come back. We'll start it from a different way. So let's add a the on the drawing tools over on the left side. So that second one from the top, that little line you see. Click the little
Yep.
arrow next to it, the teeny tiny arrow next to it, and it'll give you a drop down. Okay, we're gonna do a horizontal line um,
Okay.
right there. Yep. Now just click anywhere on the screen, and it'll place it.
Boom.
Okay. Now say put it maybe a little bit above. Well, a couple things. Okay, over on the left side, again on the drawing tools bar, down towards the bottom in that bottom section, you'll see a magnet thing that looks like a magnet. Right. Okay, if
Yep.
you click that, that'll make it so that the line or anything you're doing will sort of snap to the top or to whatever candle that you move it to. So like that way, if you want to have a line and have it be literally like exactly at the tip of the candle, then you can turn that magnet on. And now when you click the little, yeah, that guy, now when you move it over to a candle, like if you move to the right side, it'll snap it to which, whichever
Ah.
candle you want it to snap to. Um,
Yeah, so that big green one over here, it's like it's just swapping between the top and the
right,
bottom. And then if I move it to the red one, then it's just going between the two there.
right, exactly. Um, okay, so now what you can do with this, so now that you've got the line in place, so right click on that line now, and
Mm-hmm.
say add alert. So now like
Yep.
this is handy if you say I want to maybe I want to get into a trade here, but I don't want to get into the trade until at least gets to that level. So in the meantime, I don't care. But I send me a notice
Mm.
once that happens, and then I'll drop what I'm doing and I'll go and I'll look at my trade. That's kind of one way you can use that. Um, so now what you're basically saying is this is the condition ETH crossing horizontal line, the trigger only one time. And then if you just hit
Yep.
create, um, it will basically, you'll see a little alert alarm clock thing pop up there now next to that square.
Yep.
Now there's an alert set on that level. So now when the price gets up to that level, you're going to get an email saying, hey, your alert has triggered. And so this is an amazing function. I have probably 100 different alerts set up on random charts for various things.
Oh
And you can actually
God.
go in and really kind of dial them in. Like, you can put alerts on all these different indicators. You can say like, if it hits the top of the Bollinger Band, send me an alert. If it hits the 200-day moving average, send me an alert, and or put
Mm.
in different lines or different diagonal lines or whatever, and you can turn on all kinds of other indicators and set alerts for all of them too. And this is actually how like you can use TradingView to like automate trading strategies and stuff too. They have like special indicators and strategies that you can turn on and activate within TradingView and set all these alerts so that when various conditions are met, it'll send alerts automatically to a trading bot program, and it will actually trigger actual real trades on an exchange based on these alerts. And so it's very powerful and very cool once you kind of get into it and start using it to help you kind of keep tabs on what's going on. So um,
I think we might get to that on like my 11th or 12th appearance on this show.
right, right. But I did want to point that out because I think like it is important. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
alerts, I think they're pretty limited with the free tier, but it's helpful to use them, particularly if like, again, if you're just waiting for price to get to a certain level, or maybe you want to know if price gets down to like if the bottom fell out of something, like you definitely want to be alerted in some cases. And so
Mm.
having those is great. Although I think on the free tier, they expire after a certain time period, which isn't always as helpful, especially if you kind of forget about it and then it expires and then, well, that doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, so it says expiration
Right.
at
So,
that was a few minutes ago.
well, no, it's like a month. I
Okay.
think you can have it up for 30 days.
Oh no, yeah,
Yeah.
August. Whoops.
With
Yeah.
paid tiers, you can have like an open-ended alert, and you can actually have it
Okay.
notify you in the app too. Like they have a mobile app too, which if you haven't installed, it's really good too. It's not great for like actually doing technical analysis. Like some people will do TA on their
No,
phone.
no, no, no,
I
no.
don't. I'll use it to maybe look at a chart and kind of pan around. But the cool thing about it is like you can look at your watch list on there, and that's nice. And so you can kind of see what's doing what. And then if you want to actually pull up a chart, you can and sort of get a better look at it. But again, it's clunky on a mobile. But
Yeah, so I did, so I was going to ask about that. So so when the alert is triggered, it's going to send me an email. I also have the app on my
okay.
phone. So would the alert come up as a notification on my phone on the app?
It does. I don't. It normally will say where do you want to send the alert. So I don't know if it has to do with again the paid versus free or it like I don't because yeah, like on mine, if I look, it'll say, do you want it to come to your phone? Do you want it to come to your email, or what? So maybe. Oh,
Ah, notify in
okay. Well, there you
app.
go.
So basically, I've gone to edit alert. I've come to the notifications, and it gives me the option right there.
Okay.
I can send an email, show pop
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I can play
Yeah.
about with that.
Otherwise, yeah, it definitely pops up on the screen. It sends it to my phone. I think I usually do those too. I don't. I had it send me emails initially, but once I got the mobile app, it just comes to my phone and it pops up on the screen. So, um, but yeah, super handy feature to have. So let's see what else.
So I've got a few
Okay,
things. I'm probably just gonna get rid of this, seeing as I haven't paid
sure.
for it yet. So and I'll probably shut these down for now. So yeah, so like one thing that you taught me was how to create kind of like my own chart if it doesn't kind of exist. So we looked at Tau,
Right.
um, and so we looked at Tau USDT, and then we wanted to price it in Bitcoin. So we then look up Bitcoin USDT. Now, this is kind of going back to GCSE level maths, where if above and below the line you have the same thing, they sort of cancel each other out. So then leaving you with just Tau over BTC, and it worked. I was able to do that. Was pretty
Right.
pleased, and was then able to start playing about with some more complicated stuff. So one thing that we looked at was the liquidity chart. So I'm just going to bring that up, and I've
Okay.
literally just got a bunch of equations saved on a notepad at the moment that I can just call that we looked at.
Right.
That's the alert saying that
Yeah.
it's not available for less than a month. So this was the liquidity chart that we looked at.
And we can see that the it has gone down since last week. It
It
was
has gone down since last week.
yeah.
So if we were looking at the liquidity chart and we see that it's gone down since last week, and we're like, okay, so we can kind of expect a little bit of a pullback, and that we kind of we saw that on the Bitcoin chart.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, so I was going through this, and I can kind of start to really understand it. So M2SL, this is kind of the US liquidity. This is the Euro liquidity. This is Japan, JPY, the
Right.
Japanese yuan, and this is China,
Right.
the Chinese yuan. Um, and the way that they do it is whoever put this equation together. So you have essentially the liquidity for that country,
Uh-huh.
Japan, JPM2, priced in US dollars. So it's the liquidity of that country priced in USD JPY.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's making sure that everything is priced in dollars. So that's what that is. That's why you have the same here with China. Chinese M2 priced in USD Chinese yuan. The euro, they decided to do the opposite for some reason. So the USD comes after the euro instead of before. So instead of having a dividing line here, it's kind of reversed around, and it's a multiply instead. I don't know why whoever put this equation together, why they did that. Maybe it's because whoever was the source for this is kind of more trusted or whatever. But that's kind of uh, yeah, just a little quirk. But you know, it
Interesting.
kind of
Okay.
actually helped me understand this a bit more. And one thing that I did, because we were trying to get wanted to see if this would, so we can only see this on a monthly
Right.
candle. Wanted to try and see if maybe tweaking the equation meant that we can look at on a shorter time frame. So I decided that I wanted to add my central bank, the Bank of England.
Okay. Okay.
So I just started playing about. So it's GBM2, I think it was, and I'll get this right first time. So GBM2. So yeah, that's come up there. So that's United Kingdom money supply
Okay.
M2. And I want this priced in dollars as well. So I'm going to look up USD GBP. So
Okay.
that's the Great British Pound priced in dollars. And let's see if this works. Yeah, as you can see, the chart hasn't really changed much. But what it's now showing is the top 5 central banks instead of just the top 4.
Right. I need to add that to mine.
And I found that I was able to just tweak it a little bit. So yeah, this is kind of like the liquidity one that we looked at last week. Now, in the meantime, one of the other Discord members called Major Duffels, love him
Yes.
by the way.
Yes.
He came up with he had an alternative which worked on a weekly candle. Still couldn't get the daily, but it worked on a weekly one. And I basically so he kind of shared a screenshot. So he shared a screenshot of this, and you could see his liquidity equation in where my mouse is right now. So I just typed it up, gave it a try. I'm going to paste it in here, and we're going to see. So it's appearing slightly
Right.
different, but it works on the weekly. So as we can see, the weekly, it came up a bit and it's calming down again.
Interesting. That is quite a bit different.
Yeah. But you can see like kind of how the equation's getting put together. So you've got Japan assets priced in USD, ECB, European Central Bank assets priced in euros, and now there's various other weird little bits and pieces like the reverse repo and all that kind of stuff. But it gives you the kind of the general idea of how these things are being put
Right.
together. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to have you send me that. That's interesting. Um, Very cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I never, yeah, I need to dig into those more and sort of see what's what. I knew it was something like that, and I did wonder. I felt like it was missing something. So yeah, it's funny you noticed that the England Bank of England was not in there. Um, I wonder if it has something to do with the M2 supply not working on a weekly indicator. I feel like that over the like the currency exchanges, all work on even a daily or down to the minute or whatever. But I can see how
Yeah.
the M2 supply might be might only be a monthly, might
Yeah.
only adjust.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna save this one to my watch list. But yeah, carry on. Add to watch list.
Um, so yeah, that would be something to
But
look
yes,
at.
but yeah, well, because one thing that I did was I basically took out various components of this equation. So I took out America, then I did the same, took out euros, took out Japan, took out China to see if there was a particular one that was kind of stopping it from going to a weekly candle or a daily candle. Because you said that this equation, this specific one here,
Right.
used to work on shorter time frames, and now it's not for whatever reason. So I dug in a little bit to see if any of them worked, and no, they didn't.
I
So
know too. You can also kind of, if you once you kind of dig into it, you can dictate what the data source is of the individual pair that you're putting in here, and it could be too that there's more than one data
yes,
source for the M2 or any of these perhaps, and it might just be that we need to change the data source to a different one. I mean, that would take kind of really digging into it and looking at each individual
yep.
symbol, but
Yeah, so I've brought up that equation here, and I've literally clicked the cursor to that specific component of the equation, and you can see it's got all
right,
these
right,
different options, breaking loads of them. And then if I come here, oh, there's only one really there. But if I come here again, so many options for this
right,
currency pair, and I suppose for currency pairs you would expect
right,
plenty of
exactly.
options.
Yeah, no, those trade, yeah, those that's yeah. Um, but like yeah, Chinese, like looking at these, so those are futures, those other options. So yeah, it's basically just your
Yeah, yeah,
source is China basically, or Japan. So I don't know if it comes down to how often they release that information or how that works. Some of those sources are interesting like that, what the actual like mechanism is for how that connects to TradingView, I wonder. um, like another one that I wonder about all the time is like the Fed rate, like the um, the main interest rate, whatever. Because like with the Fed will come on and they'll announce a rate, on a press release or a press conference. First, well, they'll do the press release first, and then they'll have the conference, and then somewhere kind of in the middle of that, it like updates on the TradingView chart. Um, and I'm like, I wonder who's sending this data, where's it coming from, and how's it getting into TradingView? I don't know. Um, but it is interesting as opposed to other stuff like Glassnode or these exchanges or the New York Stock Exchange or whatever, where there's just like these constant APIs that are connected all the time that are just sending loads of information in real time. um, you got to figure the Chinese central bank is a completely different setup altogether, but who knows. um, Interesting, very cool. Do you have any other equations here?
Yeah. So oh yeah. Let me just go through kind of the other equations I have. I think I have two more. So I have the total market cap of stable coins. So again, I've just copied and pasted that off of my little
Okay.
notepad thing. Then I can add that to my watch list, and boom, there it is. So this is a total market cap of stable coins, and then what's the other one? Is so the Bitcoin. This is Ben Cowan's equation: Bitcoin dominance minus
Right.
stable coins.
Okay.
So I'll save this one as well. Boom, there it is.
Yeah, I like that one too. I have that also, and I have a separate tab that I keep with that one. I think that's probably the more relevant Bitcoin dominance chart, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, there should be a way you can toggle that the the little the whole like title across the price line that sticking out into it. That would make me nuts. I wonder if you right click on it maybe or something. No, just like right on the actual price itself. That red
Right.
thing where
Okay.
next to the yeah that can you make that go away? I wonder. Or hide.
I might hide that. Hide.
Oh,
Oh.
that hides
Oh
the
no,
whole
that's
thing.
hidden the whole
Oops,
thing.
undo. Oh, maybe up in the. Oh
Maybe up
no,
in the
it's
what?
probably somewhere in there actually where you just were, in the settings. Yeah,
In settings.
status line or something. Yeah, title,
No.
description, probably. Yeah, no, I think you were there under status line, and then where it says title. Yeah, uncheck that, or maybe
Okay.
or indicators. It's probably somewhere in there. But yeah, that's funny. It doesn't.
I'll just keep clicking stuff until
Yeah, where's it? Um, anyway, I don't know. Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
play about with that.
Um,
Episode 3.
okay, interesting. Yes, very good chart. I like that for sure.
I think one thing I wanted to look at was comparing two things with each other. So I'm here with Bitcoin and maybe wanting to compare it with liquidity. So if I get the liquidity up. So this is kind of like the liquidity, but the scales are kind of
Right.
off. So I was wondering if there was kind of ways of maybe fixing
So
that.
yeah, there's a couple things you can do. You can change the log, change it logarithmic versus linear. Sometimes that makes. Oh, not you. You did the wrong. Yeah, you got to. Yeah,
Oh
go
no,
up.
this one.
No,
Oh,
sometimes you can or change the actual. So turn that back off. Right click on the. Yeah. Okay. You got the one. Now where'd the Bitcoin go?
so the Bitcoin is all the way down here, so the scales are
Oh,
just off with each other.
it's tricky with that. Like, I'm sure somebody more advanced than me would know the answer, but in that situation, I would maybe look at moving it to a different pane, um, and see because that.
Pin to new right scale.
Oh, there you
Aha,
go.
got
Hey,
it.
look at that.
So what I did there was I pinned to scale.
Okay,
Uh,
well,
yeah,
right on. There you go.
and there and there you can see, and there this is what I wanted to see, because like there it
Right,
gives you can see the correlation. They kind of move in tandem.
right, exactly. What happens if you change it to a log scale now? I wonder. Does it still stay? Oh, and then can you change the Bitcoin to a log also? Like,
Right. Oh, even better.
are they both logged? There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Um,
It's very
yeah.
similar.
Oh, totally. Aren't they? Is this liquidity or is? Oh, it is liquidity. Okay. Yeah.
It is
Well, look at
liquidity,
that.
yeah.
I mean, just like Raul
And this
says
is
all the time.
and this is what I exactly, yeah. This is what I wanted. Liquidity on the weekly, because I think what was it that Bitcoin has an 86% correlation on the weekly
Right.
with liquidity. So keep track of liquidity and what it's doing, and it will give you so far 86% chance of being able to tell where
And
Bitcoin is going to
from
go.
the looks of it, it looks like Bitcoin's going to go down.
It's going to go down. It's going to go up.
I mean, I think they'll probably kind of meet in the middle if I had to guess somewhere,
Yep.
but interesting. Yeah, I need to do that too on mine.
Yeah, you can see that divergence there. You can see it diverged there, and that was the XRP news, wasn't it?
No, that was because this is weekly, so that was like 3 or 4 weeks
Oh,
ago.
oh, okay.
No, that was just kind of, I don't remember what that was, 3 or 4. Who knows? That was like a lifetime ago in crypto. um,
True.
I mean, it was definitely the start of a new 60-day cycle, that big pump up, but I don't remember what the catalyst was at the moment. Um, but yeah, no, that's super cool. I need to do that too on mine. Right on. Yeah.
Nice.
Um,
So I think that and I can compare ETH with
right.
it as well. So I've literally just clicked ETH. The liquidity
Right.
is still
Right.
there. So if I want to hide the liquidity, then there we go.
Yeah.
Hidden.
Exactly.
Boom. Still have the alert there that we set up earlier. And yeah, so let's take a quick look at this. So basically, it was very, very good timing that we went through kind of TradingView last week. So XRP was something that I have been monitoring. It's some things that I've kind of like had more longer term stuff, and I've been checking XRP against Bitcoin and Ethereum over on something like CoinGecko, which is fine enough. But when the news came in and we were having big news on the daily, yeah, it really, really helped having it come up on Bitcoin. So you can see right here, boom, it just
Right.
shot up. And having it on my trading view at the time, I was basically able to swap the XRP for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I kind of started it around here and then was just going dip, 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 all the way up. And I actually still have some on like a few other exchanges, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had some there as well. And I've actually kind of not lost out on the trade because it went all the way up here. It's pulled back, but it's kind of resettled much higher. So so it's still going to be a
Right.
good thing for me.
That's great. Um, I mean,
And yeah, thank you very much.
the idea being, I think, in the long term, well, who knows if ETH or Bitcoin are going to outpace XRP. I think they will personally. I mean, um,
Hmm.
you know, XRP already has such a huge market cap, and its token itself
Yeah,
is sort of relatively detached from the actual, mechanics of the business that they provide. And so
yeah.
I don't,
For me, it was simply a way of getting more Bitcoin and more Ethereum than otherwise I would have got. So I used the XRP spike up to then swap at a higher level, and essentially I've kind of ended up buying Bitcoin or Ethereum at a
yeah, no,
discount. That's
exactly,
kind of how I
exactly.
see it.
That's perfect. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Just quickly, is there anything else that we kind of like spoke about last week that
I don't know. There's a ton of like, maybe not this time, but there's all kinds of the toolbars. We didn't really get into that too much, but there's all kinds of really cool stuff we can do with the
mhm.
toolbars that we can look at
Tell
maybe
you what,
next
there
time.
was one thing.
Oh yeah, the Pi cycle top.
Yeah.
Um,
So I
I
think
like
was
the
it this
one,
one?
the third one down, the Pi cycle top indicator for BTC USD. That's my
This
preferred
one.
one. Um, you're
Hang
gonna
on,
end up with
let's zoom right out.
Um, oh, it's not overlaid directly on the chart, I think, because you've got a number of different things going on there. Okay, there we go. There we go.
So
Yeah.
let's hide that. I don't want that anymore. Where can I hide it? Where can I get rid of it?
Oh, you might not have clicked on it actually. So just try it again. You might have just missed it or something. Yeah, hide.
Ah, yeah, hide.
Um,
Boom.
are you on a? It looks like you're on a. Are you on a log scale, or it looks like linear to me, but maybe not. Yeah,
Log
yeah.
scale.
I
Boom.
find it to be better on log. Um, so yeah, that looks right. That looks right.
So yeah, we kind of talked about this a little bit last week, and the pi cycle tops. What are we talking about? So you can see here that we have the 350-day moving average here, and that's been squared,
Right.
and then the 111 moving average. And why these two numbers? Well, because if you divide 350 by 111, you get a very sort of close approximation to pi. And for some reason, and we don't know why, no idea why,
Right.
but like you see that when they touched here, um, the 350 kind of like kept going for a while. But the 111 kind of followed down. But it was a signal of kind of like the peak,
Right.
the top of the cycle, essentially. So this is why you took a very keen interest to it, and you've now got me hooked as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's great. And again, if you go back through and look at it, and it works on the weekly too. If you go back through and
Ah.
look at it throughout its history,
Mm.
it's
So
spot
it's
on.
done it
Yeah.
there,
Uh,
sort of teased it there, did it there.
right. One trick too, if you ever want to pull up a chart that shows the entire history of Bitcoin, there's a specific symbol you can type in. If you just do BTC USD, and then it's the third one down, the all-time history index. Um,
Hmm.
that will show you the entire history of Bitcoin, regardless of what exchange was, selling it at the time. So that's a super
Okay.
handy one for like going way back. um, so I use that for like,
And yeah, we can see it cross there.
right,
It crossed
exactly.
there.
Yeah,
Interesting. And it didn't really cross again until like kind of there.
the peak of 2017 again, and it was spot on
Yeah.
the day practically.
Cool.
Yeah,
So yeah, another one to keep an eye on going forward.
right. Yes, that's definitely in my watch list. I keep that as, it's hidden, but it's always loaded all the time in my, like you
Nice.
said, when I have a dozen or so indicators loaded. Um, yeah, that's one of them for sure. Well, at least on the Bitcoin chart anyway. Um, Funnily enough, it doesn't work on anything else. But and I couldn't explain why. But like if you tried to put it on an ETH chart, it just wouldn't. It doesn't work. So yeah.
So yeah. Oh, quickly on the Bollinger Bands because I wanted to see that one down below as well. So if I come here and I move it to the new pane below. Okay, so that's kind of showing it on the pane below, but it's kind of disappeared from here. So I basically need to have two Bollinger Band indicators, one up here and one down here. But I'm going to have trouble doing that because I can only have three indicators at one time.
How come you want it below also?
How can I what?
Why is it that you want it below also, like in a separate pane?
So it was when you had that kind of that separate one where you saw the loose Bollinger Bands, then it went down to the tight Bollinger Bands. It was kind of a comparison to what was going
Oh,
on up here.
right. So yeah, so that was actually a separate indicator altogether. Um,
Okay.
that was what was that called here? That was it's called BBW, I think Bollinger Band width, maybe. It's like, yeah,
Okay.
that one there.
Yep.
That's it. Um,
Okay. I'll have to get rid of something.
yeah.
Let's get rid of you. So indicator BBW. Oh, it's still not liking that. Let's get rid of TSMA for now.
The constant
Sorry.
battle.
I'll bring you
I think it's
back.
also like having
Okay.
additional charts overlaid, like having the, Bitcoin and Ethereum or whatever overlaid over the top, I think is counting against it also. Um, yeah, But anyway, yeah. So
Okay.
that's the thing below that I was using.
So this is what I wanted to kind of like see. So like you can see when the Bollinger Bands really balloon outwards, then this
Right.
spikes up. And then when it's kind of narrowing, it's coming right down again. And that was really, really helpful. That's what I wanted, and that's what I've now got.
Yes.
Thank you. I just have to clunkily play about around with the limitations that I've got on the free
Yes.
version.
Yes. Um, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And if there's any other indicators you are wondering about, obviously shout me out and I'll tell you what they are.
Yep. No, I think I'm good for now. Save it for another time.
Awesome. Very good. Well, cool. I think this was fun. I think this was a good, definitely a good run through of the easy, basic setups of TradingView, getting it dialed in. I'm glad you got the watch list set up. I think that's important. And then,
Yep. I'm gonna
next
love that.
time we can dig into the toolbars a little bit more and show you how to use some of those indicators and overlays and things like that. There's actually some really cool stuff in there for just like measuring. You can use it to like measure stuff, like measuring days and measuring percentage gains and losses and measure, doing like if you're doing a trade, you can put like an overlay over the top of it to track if you're in profit or not, or there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's like 50 different things in there that we can dig into. So, but really handy stuff for just kind of measuring things and sort of getting a deeper look into what's what, as opposed to just kind of looking at the candles themselves. Um, so yeah, I think that'll be cool. Um, but anyway, yeah, right on. Okay, well, let's wrap this up again. If anybody's watching, I don't know how many people are watching. It's funny, I have no way to see at the moment with my setup if anybody's actually watching this or not. But if you are and you want to get alerts on whenever I do this, definitely please follow my profile and find my Telegram announcements and subscribe to them, and you'll see what's going on. So. Um,
Well, it's definitely helping me, so it's absolutely
Well, that's
worthwhile.
great, and that's all that matters. I mean, honestly, is just if one person out there learns how to do this, I'm happy. And if anybody else watches the replay of this and learns something, obviously that's amazing too. I'm going to keep doing this because I think that this is important. I think that I think when I was first started out doing this, whatever 5 or 6 years ago, I would have loved to have had a channel like this that broke this stuff down for me because I would have to watch these YouTube channels of these dudes who have been doing this forever just kind of fly through stuff. And I would have no idea. And I'd have to rewatch everything over and over again to see what buttons they were clicking on. Like, how did he do that? What happened there? And then half the time they're using like keyboard shortcuts and they're not actually even clicking anything with the mouse. And so you can't actually even see what's going on. And it's just, I know it's just a
Helpful.
mess. I mean, granted, that's not the focus of their show, but I think there's definitely a need for this out there for people to just like figure out how to use this because this tool is amazingly powerful and will guide you through all of your sort of investing future. And the more you can use it, and the more you can use it to glean insight from, I think is really powerful. So I will definitely keep doing it. I'm happy to have you back on any time to go through stuff like this. And yeah, this is
Hmm.
this is great. So yeah, I guess on that note, let's
Brilliant. Thank you very,
well,
very much. And thanks everyone for watching. And I'll see you all again soon, I hope.
yes, very good. All right, thanks everybody. We are out.